When I arrived in St Mary the Virgin in Rotherhithe, I noticed the clock was running just a little fast. Let's check it out.
My name is Sam and we are here in St Mary's Church, Rotherhithe, and as you can probably see, I am standing next to the clock bell.
It's a big old bell.
Yes, this was the original tenor here. It weighs approximately 1,600 weight.
This once was a swinging bell.
Yes, this used to be the tenor and is now hung dead.
Yeah, so hung dead just means that it doesn't swing.
Yes, and the only way it sounds is by this striking hammer.
Whoa!
If it was, so that would be 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And it's quite loud. Exactly why.
So I just want to say, it's really loud. I wasn't
what,
expecting to be anywhere near as loud as that.
This is why this is why it's important that, this is why I recommend you always wear ear protectors when you're in a bell chamber, because it will save your hearing.
It's good advice. If only we followed this advice.
Because this bell, when struck with the hammer, gets up to 120 decibels.
Can I have a go? Okay, so there's almost no resistance and it feels quite balanced.
Then when you release it...
But that's loud.
Yes, it's a strong F note.
This clock strikes an F note. Other clocks and other towers will have different notes. I think a lot of it is to do what bells are available.
Yes.
If you zoom in to the wire, you'll see that it strikes the clock bell. So,
Yeah, perfect. That's the mechanism that drives the clock faces?
Yes.
So they're just 3 faces?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Right, so let
The
me...
one that goes over there's none that goes over the roof of the church.
Ah, okay. And
A lot of churches have got 4 faces.
So will I see movement if I wait a minute, or do you think I won't see movement because it's just continuous?
if you look very, very closely.
I think it will move. Because the long hand will move a minute, physically on the outside. So that cog will move very slightly.
Okay, well, this is the excitement.
You might have to do
And this is my favourite position.
You might have to do speed it up so you can see them moving.
I don't want to be shaking too much when if it goes. Oh, I don't know. Have we been here a minute?
So I'll time one for you.
I haven't seen it. Has anyone else seen it move?
I'm not exactly.
Well, I think I can see it, but that's maybe because I'm imagining I can see it.
I'm right.
But yeah, I mean, this is it. It's not a clicky motion. It's a smooth motion.
Yeah.
We think. Oh, now I'm wondering, am I imagining it? Because I thought I saw it go then. Very, very tiny amount though. Okay, well, I think.
Well, those cogs are small compared to the size of the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm going to find out. So, shall we go and look at the clock?
Yeah.
Where do I stand up? Here or there? There.
So you climb up this onto these steps.
There we
here.
go. Oh, I didn't get here before.
No.
I'll move that side.
Wrench.
So I'm going all the way over this side.
Out of the way before you move, yeah?
Yes, okay.
This is a workout.
Yeah.
Right.
He's not got far to fall.
Now.
Yeah, there isn't far.
There are 3 parts to this mechanism. This part here that's connected to the pendulum is called the escapement, and it's responsible for controlling the speed of the clock. Now, a bit of a health warning here. I'm about to start lying.
One of the things that's really striking about this, it's obviously not simple, but everything has a purpose. Yeah. You can see more or less what everything does.
No, that bit isn't particularly true. I mean, I can roughly see what's happening, but I can't exactly see what's happening. Never mind, let's see what Wikipedia has to say. Well, that's not quite as helpful as I'd have liked.
So I can see immediately that that anchor escapement isn't quite the same shape. The wheel is very different. There's something about the angle of the heads on that anchor shaped thingy. What are they called? Oh, thank you. Escapement pallets. Is there another type of escapement? Deadbeat. Deadbeat, that looks closer. It's such a pity it's not animated. Oh, is this really the best shot I've got? Surely I've got a better shot. Hereticacious, what else can you do? Why don't you try a 3D animation like this? So, before we start, I want to be absolutely clear. This isn't completely right, but it really does tell you quite a lot about how this works. The first thing to remember is that the pendulum isn't driving the wheel is driving the pendulum. You can see on the left hand side here that the last thing that happens is that it gives a little push up on the escape pallet, and the last thing that happens on the right hand side is it gives a little push to the right, and it's not really driving the pendulum, it's just trying to give it a nudge so that it doesn't lose energy from every swing through friction. The powered wheel's trying to turn freely, but the pallets keep on getting in the way, and then the wheel, as the last point of contact with the minimal friction that it has, is just giving a little impetus so that the pendulum maintains its energy. But the swing of the pendulum is determined. That's just a function of the physics of pendulums. So no matter what happens, the wheel can't turn faster, and the ticks and the tocks are what results as it catches us twice on each cycle. The problem the clockmakers in the olden days had to solve was how to shape the wheel in such a way that it exactly matched the gaps and still gave that little push on each cycle, one on one side going up and the other on the other side going to the right. On this channel we obey the laws of physics, which is why I'm showing you this animation, because I haven't got it quite right, and I just realised I hadn't got it quite right and couldn't live with it. So you can see I didn't get the shape and the contact points exactly right, but the reality is beautifully designed. Look on the left hand side as it pulls in. The curve on the teeth of the escape wheel is just right to let the pallet all the way in so that its underside meets the flat of the next tooth and arrests the progress of the escape wheel. Then, as the pendulum moves the left pallet further to the side, it meets that chamfered edge and the wheel can push it up. Similarly, on the right hand side, you'll see as the pallet digs in, it just misses because of that curve to catch the flat of the rotating teeth of the escape wheel, and then the escape wheel pushes the pallet out to the right. In each case, I think it's the nudge, either to the up or to the right, that's actually making the tick-tock noise. It could be a small contribution from the contact between the flat surface on the pallet and the flat surface on the teeth. But I don't think so. If you look, it's just that flick as it moves the pendulum, just giving it that energy, that little tiny bit of energy so it doesn't slow down. When the wheel escapes the pallet, it can turn.
The clock was built by Gillett and Johnston in 1892.
Very good year.
And connected to the escapement is the going mechanism. The going mechanism, this is the going mechanism right here, this cog.
Yeah.
And it's connected to this.
To this mechanism here. That's like a minute hand markings on, yeah?
And the part that's connected to the clock hands, this part here is what drives the hands.
Yeah.
And if you look very closely, there are two cotter pins here that hold it to the mechanism. That's called the fly, and that controls the speed of the clock bell. And this part here is the lever that's connected to the striking hammer. So if I give this a lift, it should strike.
Ah, that's what we saw from above when we were... Now, I don't mind telling you, I was a tiny bit worried at this point, but I could see that Louise was completely relaxed. There's always the possibility people down below start swinging the bells around, not realising they were up here, but there was only one bell moving. I thought we were going to be all right.
So Father Mark is about to have a morning service, so he rings that as the bell before his service. Yeah, so that's connected to the rope. That's connected to the treble rope. We leave that one tied so it goes to the room below.
I think I saw.
We've seen that before, and
Yeah.
this is it in action. Yes.
That was a blooper. Now you see why I always wear ear protectors.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, we had to do fingers in the ears for that.
We're just saying this arm here was the
Yeah.
thing that we were seeing when we were looking from above up
Yes,
there.
it's connected
So,
to this wire.
just to give a bit of
and
geography.
then it goes to that hinge.
Yeah.
And then that hinge, and then the hammer. So
This, which is marked with minutes,
Going
and I guess
mechanism.
that maps to what's happening on the clock.
yeah.
Oh, and I can see you're looking there at that's the motor. That's actually the electric motor that's actually driving everything.
Yeah, and that winds the mechanism.
Oh, it winds it. It doesn't drive it. That's it. So it's existing clockwork mechanism. This goes up here. Then you've got a three-way. No, then you've just got a kind of universal joint. Oh, and then that goes directly to that clock face over there. This goes along here to that clock face over there.
Yeah, so this one you're pointing at now is the one we were looking at from above.
Yeah. This bar is directly driving right the way across. Interestingly, it's got a little joint. That's obviously got a bit of give, which I guess is for expansion.
Because the pendulum is metal and it gets smaller when it's cold, making it go faster.
But you don't come in and change it.
I do.
Yeah.
So ideally, I would look at it every week.
Do you have to make that journey that we just made just now in order to change it?
So if it's running fast,
Yes.
I stop the pendulum and restart it. If it's running slow, that clock dial you were looking at there,
Yeah.
this one here, I can move it and push the clock forward.
So this can literally be moved by hand.
Yeah, and the other thing we can do is adjust the length of the pendulum, which we do from the ringing chamber downstairs.
Can you tell me how often the clock has to be serviced?
So we are going to give a shout out for Cumbria Clocks.
Okay.
They do.
Cumbria, a local firm.
A local firm, but excellent. They come down to London a lot to service clocks, so they did all the recent renovations of Big Ben.
Of the Elizabeth Tower.
At the Elizabeth Tower, yes. And so they come here every 2 or 3 years and give the clock, a service.
Yeah.
Go through all the points and make sure it's all working properly.
Once again, I tried to see a cog turning just by looking at it with my eyes. This is 8 times speed, and if you look at the cogs, you're really lucky to see anything, particularly with this handheld stuff. But if you look at that weight down by the side, you can see it move. I shouldn't be surprised that things near the centre of the clock which aren't moving much are hard to see. But what is that weight? Look, there's one for the hour hand and there's one for the minute hand. The minute hand's a little bit hard to see, but you can see the hour hand quite easily. These are counterweights to the hands of the clock, and they tell the time upside down.
Well, I didn't see that move.
Well, maybe when you do the playback, it might. Yeah. Right, what we need to do now is...
How do you stop the pendulum? Is there an art to it?
It's very easy. You just put your hand on the pendulum and wait for it to slow.
Oh, you're literally just applying force.
Yeah.
Doesn't the clock try and drive it?
No.
And this is where my model can maybe make things a little bit clearer. Because the pendulum sets the speed at which the wheel is turning, if you slow the swing of the pendulum, all that will happen is that the wheel will turn more slowly. At the middle of the final swings, the tiny impetus from the wheel will be damped by the hand holding the pendulum, and then the pallet will just slide neatly between the teeth, and the wheel will stop without damaging anything. The anchor escapement was frictional. You can see it pushes the pendulum at every moment of the swing. This contributed to inaccuracy. By contrast, the deadbeat only provides impulse in the middle of the swing, and the remainder of the time the force of the wheel on the pallets is directed towards the pivot on the pendulum. In this sense, the pendulum can be said to swing freely. There's also a moment with the anchor escapement that the wheel briefly turns backwards. This also contributed to inaccuracy. The deadbeat escapement gradually replaced the anchor after 1715.
There you go.
That's surprisingly easy.
Yeah. But not as easy as you think.
Yeah, you can feel there's more momentum, I think, in the weight, yeah. And is there a heavy weight right at the bottom of that?
Yes, there is a circular weight at the bottom.
Okay, what do the weights do?
This weight here drives the going mechanism and escapement. This weight here is the heaviest, and this one is the lightest. And this one here is for the striking mechanism. This lightweight goes up, while this one goes down. And then when it's wound, this one goes down and that one goes up. Same with the striking mechanism. And these two machines up here, they drive the weights up.
I don't know whether
So they are automatically wound now. They used to be manually wound, I think.
So when the clock's wound, those all get pulled up and they just work their way down.
Yes, after the ticking.
And how does the winding work? Does it happen like once or twice a day, or does it happen sort of continuously?
The going mechanism is usually wound once every hour, I think. Not entirely sure.
It is quite regular, though.
Yeah. It used to be wound by manpower.
Can you imagine? I mean, that was someone's job.
To wind the...
Yeah.
See,
I think they wound here.
yes, this is here, and that one there.
One set is for the going and mechanism and the escapement, and the other one on the left is for the striking mechanism.
So one's driving the clock and one's driving the bell.
Yes.
Again, my shots of this are frustratingly pants, but it'll take a little bit of time to get you orientated, just because it shows that the shape of the cage of the clock wasn't quite what I expected. We even spotted an old winder in the room above.
It's 10:05. What time does the clock say it is?
Start the clock.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What time is the clock saying? Let's start it anyway, because it's 10:07 now.
Let's get it up to
And
speed.
we stop the clock around about 10 o'clock, so...
They won't.
Alan, I need your help with this ladder.
Okay. Magic. This is how far people are prepared to go for hereticacious, I tell you, it's amazing.
This is something we do.
Oh my goodness.
There's the pendulum. At the bottom of this pendulum is a disc.
Yes.
And I'm going to change, because we know the clock's running fast at the moment, so I'm going to lengthen the clapper. Sorry, not the clapper, so lengthen the pendulum so that it will then run slower.
So you're going to set it on winter running in practice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you
And on
think
here there's some lovely chalk markings. I've got no idea when they're written, but at the bottom there's a reminder here. It says long equals slow for the clock, to remind yourself which way you want to do the clapper. Sorry, the pendulum.
Do you know what? I'm sure that saved a few people from time to time.
So
if you think about
righty-tighty, lefty-loosey.
Yes.
if you
So
think
I'm just
about
going to give it a little turn, and then we'll see in a week
if you think about it,
how
it's
it's
a
running.
similar way of controlling the speed of the clock at the Elizabeth Tower. The pendulum runs on, actually, believe it or not, uses pennies to speed and slow down.
I was going to say I've seen pennies, but yes,
Yes.
balanced on there.
Yeah,
Yeah, they remove one to slow it down
Very
and
common.
add one to speed the pendulum.
I think they still do that in Big Ben.
Yeah, they do. They still do that in the Elizabeth Tower.
It's got a glorious sort of persistence of motion, hasn't it?
So we were quite good in our guess. It's actually running a minute fast at the moment.
But it's...
So it's 10:14 outside, and
Well,
we
what
had it,
was
it's
it?
10:13.
What was it before? It was 6 minutes.
It was 6 minutes fast.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
But just through a bit of gut feel. We've
Oh,
guessed that.
all the people who live around here are setting their watches every day. But,
I think the people around here have learnt not to rely on the Rotherhithe clock.
This video is already quite long,
That's the striking mechanism getting ready.
and we didn't look in detail at the going.
was that as a consequence of something you did?
No, that's just
Louise.
the clock.
Oh, that was
no,
just-
that's the
that was
clock.
just you getting ready.
The clock being a clock.
At the flywheel, at the going, the striking mechanism, and there's more to be said on how the power is transferred from the winding mechanism to the clock and striking mechanism. If you like the depth we went into for the
Push that
escape,
out the way. So now I can move this. Watch this bit here. I'm moving this dial here.
and for other parts of the clock, let me know in the comments. And of course, there were plenty more clocks to look at.
That bit's getting ready. And now I've clicked that back in place. It's in the most awkward place. Because of course it's a cog that turns, so
Yes.
that
And
sprocket
it
moves
happened to
round.
be at that. Yes, it happened to
So
be
it
at the
happens
most awkward
the
place.
most awkward place, yes.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm pulling this sprocket out, get it away from the cog. Yeah. Move it forward. There we are. And then you can watch for this. The flywheel's going there.
Here it goes.
Ah, that's counting the
Yeah.
the chimes.
Yeah.